Avni, thank you for giving us time here on News9. Plenty of stocks to talk about today. Let's start with Dabur because Reserve Bank of India has approved Dabur's promoters. The Burman family's plan to acquire an additional 26% stake in Religare Enterprises. This follows a long battle for control of the non-banking financial corporation. RBI's approval is valid for a one-year period as per the report in the Economic Times. It comes with conditions including maintaining the current management structure and requiring consolidation of NBFCs within the Burman Group by March 31st, 2026. I'll start with Dabur first. Seeing some bit of a price pressure this morning. In fact, if you look at it, it has really performed poorly. In fact, the entire FMCG pack has been very disappointing in 2024. But Dabur stands out. It's in the news. Typically, the company that acquires another company sees some bit of a price correction, and I think we are witnessing that in prices. But we have got a one-year chart. Nifty is down. Dabur is down somewhere around 10%. In today's trade, it's down marginally, 0.2%. Avni, I'll come to you on Dabur. FMCG pack, yes, of course, they have been facing pressure. But does Dabur stand out over here, considering that we have seen sharp correction this year?
Good morning, Suyash, and a very good morning to all the viewers as well. So yes, Dabur has been the worst performing stock in the entire FMCG pack, although the entire sector has really not lived up to its tag of being a defensive, because it fell when the markets were falling, and it's correcting when the markets are doing good. So FMCG has really disappointed investors. But among this entire space, Dabur has been the worst performing stock. And currently also, if from a very, very short-term perspective, if you look at it, if it breaks yesterday's low of 503, it can further come down. There are no triggers that can, see even a small bounce back in this particular stock. So I'm expecting if 503 is breached, then we may see a retest of around 485 levels on the downside.
All right, that's a view coming in on Dabur. But let's also talk about Religare, because that's actually performing phenomenally well. It's up about 5.5% as we speak, and it's actually gaining traction at one point. In fact, it has hit a fresh 52-week high of 304.6 on the NSE. Stock has been on a phenomenal run. Avni, in the last 6 months, has delivered returns in excess of 35%. Year to date, it's up somewhere around that mark as well. But, again, in the lead up to this news of acquisition, the stock has done phenomenally well. If you look at the 1 month returns, Religare has rallied close to 18%. In fact, over 18%. Can this momentum continue for Religare? Avni, what's your view?
Yes, definitely. The stock has given a new breakout on weekly and monthly charts, and it's out of the woods, and it's moving up higher. And we expect, after such a huge gap up opening and such a huge gain, single day gain, there can be retracements. It can come down to somewhere around 289 to 290 levels. That will be a good level to buy the stock again. In a coming few weeks to probably a month or so, we should be seeing the stock moving up to around 380 levels, which were the previous highs of that particular stock. So stay positive. If someone has bought it at lower levels, hold on to the gains. You are going to see further gains coming in the stock. Someone who has missed the rally can enter into the stock once it comes to around 290.
All right, those who have missed the rally, wait for it to normalize to around 290 sort of levels. That's a view coming in on from Avni on Religare. It has hit a fresh record high, 52-week high. In fact, in today's trade, after the news came out that Dabur is going to take controlling stake in the company of 26%. But moving on, another stock that has been making rounds is Vodafone Idea. Now, the board of Vodafone Idea yesterday approved a proposal to raise 1980 crore rupees from entities belonging to promoter entity Vodafone Group PLC through a preferential issue. Vodafone Idea will issue shares to Vodafone Group entities, Omega Telecom Holdings and Usha Martin Telematics, worth up to 1280 crore rupees and 700 crore rupees respectively. The issuance will involve 1.75 billion equity shares with a face value of rupees 10 each. Now, the issue price will be rupees 11.28. Avni, let's look at the stock. it has faced some bit of a price pressure. In fact, if you look at the stock year to date, it has fallen over 50%, 52% rather. But again, nothing coming in the way of this fresh equity and the fresh capital that they are raising. The stock has not really convinced investors. In fact, even in a 5-day period, the stock is down. But some bit of a momentum building up in today's trade. The stock is up about 0.5%. Has really stabilized around that 8 rupee mark. Do you think if it can spend some time there, it could perhaps make a move towards that 14 sort of levels that we had seen just a couple of months ago?
Absolutely, Suyash. As you said, the stock is not really, I mean, all the good news also, it's unable to sustain in spite of all the good news in the market. And basically, the sentiment has gone really bad on the stock. And
Tata Motors.
investors are just looking to get out of their stuck positions at higher levels, which they had purchased earlier. So I don't see the stock going above 9 rupees in any case. Any good news today also, the news has been good, but in spite of that, after opening, we're seeing a lot of selling pressure, a lot of booking out. So at every rise, investors are going to look for exit opportunities, and we could in fact see a downfall up to around 6.5 again. So use any kind of pullback rally to get away from the stock, I mean to exit your stock. And there are many better plays in this segment where we'll find momentum in coming few days.
All right, Avni, let's move on and let's talk about another stock that's in the news today. Now, Tata Motors has announced that it will increase the price of its passenger vehicles, including electric models, by up to 3% starting January of 2025. The price hike is aimed at partially offsetting the rising input cost and inflation. The exact increase will vary depending on the model and variant. Now, this follows similar moves by other car makers, including Maruti Suzuki India, Hyundai, Mahindra & Mahindra and JSW MG Motors, who have planned price hikes for the coming month as well. Now, Tata Motors, Avni, let's get your view on that as well. The stock has been trading pretty much flattish. It got to that 1180 sort of levels. It has fallen sharply from there, corrected by about 20% or so, but witnessing some pullback from that 780, 790 sort of a zone, and it has been, holding above that 800 levels. Do you think that price hike will provide the further impetus for the stock to rally from here on?
In this case, Tata Motors, we often hear that people saying, analysts saying, the entire community saying buy on dips when the stock rallies. So this is the dip that you have in hand right now. It's a fantastic company, and going ahead, it has the important point is it has consolidated quite a bit. It is not making further new lows. So that's a very good sign. And once the momentum picks up, I think it's a good time to accumulate. So one can look at it from an investment perspective and not from short-term trading perspective. It may spend some time over here in this area of 800 to 810 for a few more days or few more weeks. But from an investment purpose, this is a good opportunity to buy the stock at current levels, accumulate it. You should be seeing the stock moving up to around 900 to 920 levels in probably a month or two.
Right, 920 to 940 levels in a month or two. That's potentially offering a good upside as far as Tata Motors is concerned. It's currently hovering around that 807 sort of levels. So good news for investors of Tata Motors out there, and perhaps for those who are looking to make fresh entries. But let's also talk about another auto stock that has been making news today, Hyundai Motors India. Now, Hyundai Motors India plans to set up approximately 600 fast EV charging stations across the country over the next 7 years, prioritizing key highways and major cities. By the end of this year, the company aims to have over 50 DC fast charging stations operational. Hyundai's existing network has supported 50,000 sessions, dispensing over 7.3 lakh units of energy. The company has also signed an MOU or Memorandum of Understanding with Tamil Nadu to establish 100 charging stations by 2027. This initiative aims to address the growing demand for electric vehicles, infrastructure, and support expanding EV market. Now, Avni, want to get your view on Hyundai as well. Seeing some rub-off effect from this mega capex plan that they have planned. The stock is up about 0.5%, but has corrected quite sharply from its 52-week high. I think the 52-week high stands at about 1970 on the NSE. It's currently hovering around that 1836 mark. Can this be a particular stock? Because if you look at it, Hyundai is one of those companies that has spread across the value chain, whether it's your budget SUV segment, the hatchback segment, the luxury car segment. It's present in all spaces.
So the stock hasn't traded for 52 weeks. It's a recent listing. It got listed in October, so not much of data points to read on technically. But yes, the company, whatever data we have, I think as per that, it is out of the woods. It made a low of around 1730 in the month of November. But now it is stabilizing. It's in the process of stabilizing. So from an investment perspective, again, one can enter at current levels, but also keep some room in case if the stock comes back to around 1800 levels. There you can add more. So this stock, you will have to give time, at least 8 to 10 months, because it's a newly listed company. People will wait for the quarterly results and further updates on the company to actually develop interest in buying this stock. So, but technically, fundamentally looking good, one can start accumulating the stock and keep a horizon of at least 1 year for a good upside.
Right, keep a horizon of at least 1 year for good upside. That's a view on Hyundai Industries. But let's keep it to the renewable energy space, because Reliance Industries, Larsen & Toubro, Renew and Waaree are among 14 companies that have bid for incentives under India's National Green Hydrogen Mission. Now, the bids were opened by the Solar Energy Corporation of India, or SECI, yesterday, following a tender issued in July for 450,000 metric tons of green hydrogen under Tranche 2. Now, the winners are expected to be announced by January of next year. The government has capped the incentive at rupees 50 per kg for the first year of production. Avni, again, let's first talk about Reliance Industries, because the stock has witnessed some bit of a selling pressure in the past week. If you look at it, in the last 5 days, it's down by about 2%. Even today, it's, in fact, it's down about 0.4%, and it's the biggest negative contributor in the Nifty 50 constituents of stocks. What's your view on Reliance Industries?
So Reliance Industries is one of the favorite stocks of most investors in the market, and they would not like to hear what I am going to say, but I'll stick to the facts. The stock is still looking weak, and it has failed to break above the 1325 range, and it can come down again somewhere around 1250 to 1260. So some more downside left, and post that we'll have to review again. There are no buying triggers as of now.
Right, let's also talk about Waaree Energies. The stock is seeing actually phenomenal movement in today's trade. The stock, as we speak, is up about 4%. It's hovering above the 3050 levels. Again, Waaree Energies has been one of the stocks that has delivered phenomenal returns to investors. Avni, in the last 1 month or so, from what I can see, the stock has gained by about 9.5%, 32% over the course of 2024. But year to date also, in fact, it has just listed. So the stock has delivered good and healthy returns for investors since listing. Again, at 3092 sort of levels, is it a good buying opportunity?
Yes, so whoever could buy at the lower levels, do not get overwhelmed with the 1 month returns, because you have a lot more to gain from the stock. The stock is heading towards around 3650 levels. It's a good time to accumulate the stock at current levels also and stay invested. We will be seeing around 3600 levels very soon. It's a blind buy on this particular stock.
All right, blind buy on this particular stock. That's the view coming in from Avni Bhatt, Senior Vice President at JM Financial. Avni, stay with us. I have another stock for you. Brookfield India Real Estate Trust, or REIT, has launched its Qualified Institutional Placement, or QIP, issue to raise up to 3,500 crore rupees by issuing shares to institutional investors. Now, the QIP approved by the company's board has been set at a floor price of 287.55 per unit, with the unit closing at 290.73 on the BSE. At a discount then, the funds raised will be used to repay borrowings, finance capital expenditure and support future growth opportunities. Brookfield India REIT owns a portfolio of 10 grade A assets across key cities totaling 28.9 million square feet of leasable areas. Now, REIT stocks, Avni, have not done particularly well since they have launched. I mean, I think the 4 or 5 listed companies from in the REIT space have not delivered good returns compared to real estate sector on the whole, which has delivered phenomenal returns to investors over the last 12-15 months. But a big push coming as far as raising money from qualified institutional investors, so they are planning for that capex push in the coming months. What's your view on Brookfield India REIT, ma'am?
So not very excited on the stock. I would rather stick to the momentum reality names from this particular space. I would still wait and watch for this stock.